everybody. I'm Sam Jones. Welcome to Perspectives. It's so good to have you here today. It's a bright, sunny day in this part of the state, but there are evil things lurking out there, and we have somebody here that's going to be able to address them for us. Our first guest is J.P. Williams with the Tulsa Health Department. J.P., welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Former student?
Former student, graduated of the nursing program in 1998.
Says a lot about the school.
Absolutely.
We have a problem. We have a problem with tuberculosis. How bad is it?
Well, I want the viewers not to be concerned about Tulsa County. We have 9 active cases, and that's fairly low compared.
That's in Tulsa County?
In Tulsa County, absolutely. Our neighboring state, Kansas, I mean, it's been in the news, but they have 67 active cases and considered to be in an outbreak. I know the health officials in that state are working really close and monitoring and trying to contain that with their state health department.
What are the symptoms?
A cough that is 2 weeks in persistence, weight loss, sweat, fatigue, blood-tinged sputum, all of those things warrant further investigation, and we want individuals to seek medical screening immediately.
You see, I thought that TB was a thing of the past. I thought, well, we don't have to worry about that guy anymore. There are other things out there to worry about.
Right.
I was wrong, wasn't I?
Well, it certainly appears to be the case.
Yeah.
What we want people to understand is that the spread of TB can be contained. People that are more vulnerable or that have compromised immune system, avoid large gatherings, make sure that you wear a protective mask and covering if you're out, and really to avoid large crowds if you have any type of a compromised immune system. But for the general public, most people are in what we consider a low risk. Mm-hmm. But people that are in unhoused or homeless shelters, correctional facilities, those type of places tend to have a higher risk or a moderate risk of TB.
I know we have you here to talk about TB, but can we talk about measles for just a minute?
Sure.
There's an outbreak in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's jumped from, I think, 90 cases to 129 cases, mm-hmm. virtually overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Measles is a different beast altogether. And as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but the exposure to measles can hang in the air for up to 2 hours. You can walk through it and not even know.
Yes.
Is that coming this way?
I hope not. I hope not. But again, there is no travel. We travel. We're talking about Kansas and Texas. That's a rock throw away, and people often travel between those 2 states. Mm-hmm. We know that. So it certainly could come to Oklahoma. We want people to be aware of what's going on in our neighboring states, and that if symptoms of these diseases are present, they need to seek their healthcare providers immediately.
How many cases of TB would you guesstimate are fatal yearly?
Well, there are worldwide, there are millions of people that die of TB. We know that. Any case could be fatal if the proper treatment is not followed and people are not seeking those type of treatment options. We want people to, come to the Tulsa Health Department if they have any of the symptoms that I mentioned. We have a very great monitoring program, treatment program that we can follow those individuals to make sure that they're compliant with their treatment and that they have access to that, irregardless to the inability to pay or not. So we have those services and treatment options available.
Is it an extensive treatment program?
It is, and I want to say that sometimes that is what we are up against, because we're talking about a 9-month treatment regimen, and to follow individuals to make sure that they're compliant with that is the key. And we need to make sure that people understand that we want you to seek treatment, but to follow those treatments specifically as directed by your physician.
It strikes me that because we have such a large homeless population, that there are dangers lurking there as well.
Certainly. I mean, we know that, you know, the World Health Organization, the CDC, even our practitioners, we know that those at-risk populations have a greater risk. What's important is that if individuals present with any of those symptoms, that they seek screening immediately so treatment can be started. That is the key.
Otherwise, it's going to spread like wildfire.
It will certainly spread. It has the potential to do so.
When did your eyebrows first go up over what's going on in our neighboring state?
Well, actually, it started a year ago.
Did it?
Yes, it started a year ago, and it has been being monitored because there's more cases this year than it was. They're at 69. They had over 78 or so for the whole year. So that tells you that, you know, we still have some work to do with our neighboring state, Kansas. Well, they have work to do. But it actually, the outbreak, the attention was noticed January of last year.
I promised you, and I'm going to keep that promise, that I would not drag you into a political discourse. However, having said that, it concerns me we're seeing so many people at the National Institutes of Health, the World Health Organization, that's the one that's housed in this country, and other health organizations being stripped of funding and people being fired. That has to concern you.
Well, anytime there's budget reductions in preventing us to do the work that we need to do in preventive health, it is concerning. But what gives me hope is that we are still able to provide some services, and we need to be very vigilant on making sure that we provide awareness to the public and we provide access to the treatment that we can do right now today.
Well, with all due respect to the popcorn industry, would folks be wise to wear a mask when they go to a movie?
You know, again, I always recommend a mask. If you are going to go into large bodies of populated areas, wearing a mask can only provide a level of protection. And individuals make those choices to do so, but you can never go wrong with putting any line of protection, whether that's avoiding large crowds or wearing a mask.
About 20 seconds left.
Okay.
At what point will the health department start to issue warnings about what's going on across the border with TB?
Well, you know, we're transparent with our numbers, our active cases, that is a public knowledge. We monitor those daily, multiple times through the day. We have a TB clinic that provides education. We do consultation to providers, schools, churches, organizations, if they need guidance on how to protect, you know, the people that enter those places. So we're readily available to help the community with any questions or concerns they have about TB.
JP, we're out of time.
Okay.
With all due respect, if this starts to grow and grow rapidly, will you come back?
Absolutely. I would love to come back.
We'd love to have you back. Thank you.
This is home. I'd love to come back.
All right, I love it. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more right after this. And we're back. My next guest, Diane Hambric with the Tulsa Master Gardeners. What's it take to be a Master Gardener?
Well, you have to have a love of some sort of gardening would be the most important aspect I would bring to the table. And so what we do is we look for new Master Gardeners every year, and in Tulsa we have over 425 Tulsa Master Gardeners, believe it or not. It's a big group. But it takes a love of gardening, and that can take a variety of different paths. For me, I love landscape gardening. For others, it could be vegetable gardening. For those, might want to do a lot of the educational opportunities and things like that. So lots of different people come to it from very different backgrounds, but they all have a communal love of gardening.
You know, I'm beginning to see more and more of what we're talking about today. In my neighborhood, we have 2 homes where they've even turned their front yards into row after row after row of outside plants. I said that wrong.
Native plants?
Native plants, and they're everywhere.
Right.
And it's amazing what they've done.
And that's kind of a new movement. The whole native plant movement is really taking hold, and it has in the last several years. And it's those plants that can live year to year to year, that don't need a lot of the same maintenance of plants as in the past. So yeah, and some of it can look very natural and native, almost wild looking. But that's kind of the movement and the way it's going.
I have a good friend that's he's involved with, as a volunteer, the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve. And he's always sending me videos or pictures of what he's found. And he gives it names that are about this long, or whatever they are. But by the time I've read his explanation, I feel like I've just finished a course in,
Botany.
botany, and I'm going, thanks, Thomas. But there are so many folks out there that really know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's actually another area that has shown a lot of development and growth, and that's also a perennial native plant movement, and it's prairie native plants. And we're doing actually one of our presentations at the Lunch and Learn this spring is exactly on that. It's about that new movement that's happening, and it developed at the at the Tallgrass Prairie. And we have Master Gardeners that have taken a lot of education there, and they're actually going to be doing a presentation on this new type of movement with landscape needs, landscape in your yard that would have to do with this prairie native plants.
What does it take to be classified as a Master Gardener?
Well, you have to be educated through our program. Oklahoma State University actually is the educators for us. And you go to an orientation that produces probably 100 people that year that might want to become a Master Gardener. You go through a process of being vetted and interviewed, and we end up with about 40 Master Gardeners in each new class. After that, we go through an educational process that takes about 3-4 months. Once a week, we have a full day of classes where we learn everything from botany to landscape to irrigation systems to soil, everything to do with the environment and landscaping and gardening. And after that, you take a final test, and if you are successful, and almost everybody is, you become a Tulsa Master Gardener.
It seems to me like there's some people who could just walk by and throw a few seeds down and it happens.
Yep.
Because they know what they're doing. There's so much clay in our soil that it's hard, really hard, the soil is, but it's hard to get anything to grow unless you have some brought in that will support.
Right, you can have soil brought in and also additives. I do composted manure or some sort of additive almost every year in my beds in order to get that desired growth pattern that you're talking about. It requires work. I mean, you have to weed, you have to, at least, I enjoy weeding. I'm one of those weird people. I actually enjoy doing that. But you put additives, you use fertilizers when necessary. Insecticides, we try to minimalize that. And in fact, we're doing a class, again, on beneficial insects. There's a whole category of insects that are beneficial to gardens.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and they're the good guys. So the whole title of this class is Don't Kill the Good Guys. There's a lot of great insects out there that pollinate. They take our plants and they make them bloom. They help our food sources, all sorts of things like that. So don't kill the good guys. That's one of our classes at our 2 libraries where we are holding these classes. One every Tuesday during the 6-week period beginning March 18th will be at Central Library downtown. Starting March 20th, every Thursday for 6 weeks, these classes will be at the Hardesty Library. So we have 2 opportunities for Tulsans to learn about different gardening things that are just, it's fascinating.
My family, as many have done, survived the Depression.
Yes.
And they did it by growing their own food.
Yep.
Now, this is in Arkansas where the soil is much different than what you find here. And literally, I think you could go by and just throw out seeds in some cases.
Right.
But my grandfather on my mother's side was incredible. I mean, tomatoes that were just huge.
Beautiful
And,
tomato.
you know, when they're homegrown, they taste so much better.
Oh, yeah.
They
They
always
do.
do. But
They do.
potatoes and green onions, white radishes, oh my God, and strawberries.
Oh, I bet that was
Oh,
fantastic.
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, and then he always made sure the family had plenty
Sure.
to eat. But he said, this is how we survived the Depression.
Right. My grandmother did the same thing in Bristow, Oklahoma. I remember her giant garden she had, vegetable garden.
Yeah.
And that's how how she and her family made it at that time.
I got to tell you, my grandfather, I got a minute, I get this in. My grandfather liked to get out with his hand plow, not the kind with a motor, and he'd go down the rows, and my grandmother had this long row of cannas. They were beautiful.
I love cannas.
And I'd get up and hide under them, and just before he'd get to where I'd be, I'd throw a rubber snake out. And he'd always do this little Irish dance. Oh, well. He had a strong heart.
Great story.
Thank you for coming in.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And
I've enjoyed it.
Keep us on your mailing list, will you?
Surely will.
And anything new that comes up, give us a call. Let's get you back.
And you know, anyone can visit our website, tulsamastergardeners.org, and see what we're doing. We're always got something in the mix that we're doing.
You're a delightful lady.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to take
Appreciate
a short break, come back with more right after this. We're back, and finally today, Don Burdick is back to talk again about IrishFest.
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Oh my goodness! It is a culturally authentic, high-quality event for the whole family to come and just get in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day and make memories together at a beautiful festival.
It's a recent organization, is it not?
It is. It is. This is our 5th Tulsa IrishFest.
Has it grown?
You know, I think so. I mean, yes. Here's what happened. We were birthed in 2018 on St. Patrick's Day, so that was good.
Nice.
We ran for 3 years and the virus hit. So we went away for a little bit. We came back last year, and this year, well, here's how I think that we've grown. Last year on Friday when our festival opened, on Facebook they have these event page things. And we had 7,000 people saying they were interested or going, and it turned out we sold 7,000 tickets.
No kidding.
This year, if I look before I came into the studio here, so I kind of look at this all the time, 16,900 people say they're interested.
Get out
or
of
coming.
here.
So it feels good. We feel like we know we produce a really quality event,
Yeah.
and we feel like the word is getting out that families can come and have a great time together, whether you're 8 or 80, and that's really what we try to do.
If I say Irish food, what comes to mind?
Cottage pie, meat pies, fish and chips a little bit, something with potatoes.
Stew.
Irish stew, of course.
Yeah.
And you got to wash it down with a Guinness or maybe a little Jameson. So
Yes.
we'll have all of that available too. Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you, I want to be there for this one.
I hope so. Thank you.
It has sounded to me like a really hearty gathering.
Good. Sam,
And it's grown.
it's grown, and Sam, I really want to emphasize the quality. We really want this to be a authentic cultural experience. So we are flying in this year 2 bands from Ireland. Season Thiel, who is a solo guitar playing singer-songwriter, Connor Mallon, who plays the Ilian pipes, and his band. But we've got some fun stuff too. We have a band that is coming back for a 2nd year called Doulin. They're from France, and France has a Celtic community.
No kidding.
And Doulin, they play some traditional Irish songs, some original Irish songs, and then some, mix in some other with that French accent and Celtic music. It's absolutely beautiful.
I was going to say, it just kind of make you go, what? Whoa, whoa.
I know. Well, and I'll tell you, I've been scouting out a Celtic band in Japan, but that's not for this year. The point being is that and I think Tulsa and the whole region here in Green Country does this very well. We create these festivals where we bring people together, we share cultural activities, we learn from each other, and we have a good time together. And that's what we try to do with this festival. We have a great kid zone. We're going to have those Highland cattle, the long-haired cows that everybody loves. We're going to have a little mini herd of those on the festival grounds.
No kidding.
And the number 3 sport in Ireland is rugby. A lot of us didn't know, probably didn't know that, and rugby's not that big here. However, we're going to have 2 live rugby matches. So the Tulsa team is going to play a team from Dallas. They're going to come up. It's a sanctioned match with referees and everything on the festival grounds, and right after that, the women's rugby team is going to play a team from Missouri.
There's a women's team?
Yes, sir. So you can come, hear some great music, get that cottage meat pie,
Whoa.
watch a rugby game.
First thing comes to mind is, hi, my name's Alice.
These are some tough cookies, that's for sure.
Well, if you want to get an Oklahoman's attention, you feed them.
And we have some great food.
You got good food showing
Oh
up.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. There's one that, so we curate all of the food vendors, and one that really stands out is Heritage Meat Pies. It comes down, they raise their own cattle. They have the whole suite of, cottage pie, it's going to skip my mind, but lots of great offerings, but fish and chips. And then some of the food vendors, one thing we've really had fun doing is if a food truck is, say, a taco truck, but they're really good. So, and we've curated this. So we've talked to someone and said, okay, come sell your tacos, but what we ask is do something we call Irish fusion. Create an Irish taco. And you might ask, well, what is that? And I say, that's for you to figure out. Go create something. So we want our local chefs to invent things and have fun with this.
We got about a minute and a half.
Yes, sir.
You're president and founder
Yes, sir.
of IrishFest. What caused you to do that?
Truthfully, my wife and I had gone to festivals in Dallas and Kansas City and other areas for years, quite a few years. And I came back in 2017 going, why doesn't Tulsa have something of this quality? And so, some crazy thing took over me, and I said, well, maybe I'll look into starting it. And that's really how it was birthed. And the vision always was to not just make something fun and attractive, but to make it the best. Our team right now, the goal we have, and it's aspirational, is to be the best Irish festival in the country.
Well, you also have in mind down the road a building, do you not?
I do, yeah. So we're nonprofit. The first thing we want to do with any excess funds is create an artist in residence program that performs and teaches, and ultimately, if we can create a cultural center, that would be just awesome. So we have a vision.
I got a shillelagh at home.
Oh, you do?
Oh, I do, and I may bring it along.
Please
when
do.
I come. I don't jig, but I eat a lot.
Well, I heard you refer to an Irish jig before, so you can do a little jig if you want to. You'll be invited.
At my age, yeah.
Maybe not.
Right
You and
to
me
the-
both.
Right to the hospital. Don, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you,
And
Sam.
as we get closer, yell at me.
Okay.
I want to make sure that's on my radar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. We're all out of time. Thank you for being a part of it, and we'll see you back here next time.